I just know I'm handsome. Yeah, I know I'm sexy. Thank you. Yeah, you ready?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And you are kicking it with Kel and Jake.
Man, there you go. I told you we don't do that no more.
No, we don't.
But hey, you was watching that podcast with the Joe Budden Podcast.
Yeah, I watched the podcast successfully come to an end.
Successfully come to an end. What was the issue that they had?
They drove that shit straight off the cliff.
But I'm just saying, what was the issue that they had? Next thing I know, I looked up, they was doing interviews and stuff about this dude.
Yeah, it was a money issue.
I feel
basically, Mal and Rory, they asked for the accounting, they asked for the money, because they're not paid salaries, they're paid percentages based off of every video, and they're paid off of each video that they're featured in.
Yeah.
So basically, they just asked for the percentages. Joe's accounting company got real weird about it, and Joe made comments about, I'm not going to pay y'all that much for that and stuff like that.
Well,
and basically told them not to come in anymore.
Wow.
And they weren't going to continue the podcast at that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you know what's so crazy about that? Because all I remember is like people saying that the Joe Budden Podcast, he fired his friends and stuff like that. And I didn't really look into it. I just saw Roy and Mal have an interview. They were doing an interview on one of those another podcast. Mm-hmm. And they was going through it, explaining how everything came together, how they met each other, how they started the show, and how things was supposed to be split up as far as like money for views and things like that. And so I heard a little bit of it, but I was kind of tired. So I was actually doing some editing. So I didn't really get the whole full story of it. I just heard that it was on a situation where he didn't want to split up the money. Yeah. He was really taking the bigger cut of everything and felt like they were just kind of coattailing off of what he was doing.
Yeah, he felt like it was his platform. He felt like the people were here to see him. Those views were generated by him and his music career and all that.
Which was lack thereof.
Yeah.
I mean, he had one, but it was just really a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, he made that into like a little career, you know, with the love and hip hop type of thing. So, I mean, he does have a point. He should make a little bit more just because of his name and what people associate Joe Budden to be. Because Joe Budden he's pretty successful outside of what they had going on at the same time. Like, people followed Joe Budden. People watch what he did, his moves and things like that.
Yeah, he's got mainstream influence.
So he does have mainstream influence.
Yeah, he does.
But to sit there and say that that's the only influence on there, you have to have someone to talk to.
Yeah.
So you have to have that conversation with someone. And if you're having a conversation with your friends, it's the same as if I had a conversation with a business partner. Their business partner at this time. But that's why you don't really want to go to business with people that you actually was friends before you got into business. Like, in our situation, we became friends after we got into business. So the business is still important.
Yeah.
Versus the friendship is going to be in jeopardy because of the business. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Because you being my friend and I bring you in, if you don't do exactly what I need you to do, I'm going to get rid of you. So now that messes up the friendship and everything like that.
Yeah.
But if you came in trying to handle business and I'm coming in handling business, I don't know you. But I like your work ethic. I've already seen the work ethic, and I know that when we get together, that same work ethic going to be something that you continue.
Yeah.
Versus if I know my friend, he may not give me the same energy level as anybody else. You know what I mean? So you just got to think about it like that.
Yeah, no, that's true. Because a lot of the time when you hire your friends, they do slack off.
They slack off.
They don't take you as serious. They don't listen to you the same way somebody would if you didn't meet them in the business.
Exactly. So I'd rather just meet someone in the business and become friends over time, just based off of the work that we do together and being around each other. Yeah. Because we have to learn each other, you know, in some way. So I'd rather that type of situation than just coming into the business and having a friend, because I know I'm going to be a little bit harder on a friend than I would someone that I came in as a business partner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's weird. I mean, as far as their podcast and how the success of it, I think that Joe Budden was looking at it as like, I shouldn't have to pay you anything like that because it's on my platform. People was coming to my platform before we even started the podcast, so you shouldn't get anything of that or the views of that. I think that's bullshit, because from the point of where you were before we came on, you have that right to say, we don't get any of that.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
But when we come on from that point forward, we help you create that content.
Yeah, yeah. And Rory did a lot of the production. He did a lot of he helped like produce the show. He had a lot of influence there, and Mal also had a lot of influence as far as like street influence.
Yeah,
he's the one that filled the seats and got people to those shows.
Okay.
So a lot of the people weren't really even there to see Joe. They're really there to see Mal. And Mal filled the seats. Rory produced the show, and Joe had the mainstream influence.
He just had the mainstream,
and that's kind of how their little holy trinity worked. Like that's kind of how.
Oh, okay. So that was more important than the whole.
Like each person played their part. It wasn't like there was, but he treated them like they were flunkies.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
and that's the problem.
Yeah,
you know, and that's the problem when you have a friend that'll do that because
he even talked about Mal like he was homeless when he met him, and he gave him a place to live and gave him a job and shit. And he was not at all homeless. He even said that he might have had more money than Joe Budden at the time when he met Joe.
Wow.
And
but you know, stories change. People try to tell their point of view or something and try to make it seem as though what they experiences were, and sometimes it don't match up to what you remember. I know that I've been around people who will create their own ideal of who they were before this time period. Like they may be doing better now. They may be doing very well for themselves. So, but they will bring up the past as if they had a better situation than what it actually was. And you're like, nah, I don't remember it that way. Because I meet people like that now. I run into people that are very successful at this point, and I remember when they wasn't. I remember when you was struggling just like anybody else trying to get an opportunity. You just ended up capitalizing off an opportunity. You know, right or wrong, whatever it was, you capitalized off of it. You know, so that's cool. I appreciate that. I can applaud that. But there's no reason for a person to try to make it seem as though because they're in a better place that they have to try to change the narrative of what actually was happening during that time, like to make themselves look better. That's weird to me.
Yeah. And Joe Budden, he actually asked Kevin Hart for advice. He said he basically asked him for advice on the situation and asked him what he would do. Mm-hmm. And Kevin told him that he already failed because his perspective on it was like basically like screw all that little shit, all that arguing, disagreeing about all the money and the percentages. You had one goal. You had a team, and you're supposed to get your team from point A to point B, and you never made it. Like you never got your team to that success level. Like y'all, like you basically quit on your team. Like so he basically looked at it like he failed, and he basically let the little stuff get in the way of the ultimate goal.
But that's because he allowed money to be in the way of it.
Yeah.
His ultimate goal was just to be successful himself. He wanted the money versus the success with the brand, the business. Like the thing about Kevin Hart, he talks about branding all the time. That's one of the biggest things about what he talks about is his brand. I can respect that because everybody that comes over with Kevin Hart, he puts them on. He gives them an opportunity. And a lot of them like cash in on that opportunity. So you can't be mad at what he says because what he says it can be the truth. I even read his book. He has really I know he didn't completely write it, but it was one of the books I did read, you know, and I felt like, man, Kevin got a lot of knowledge.
Yeah.
He got a lot of knowledge.
Yeah. And basically he was just kind of like making a point that he was thinking too emotional, like he was coming from a spot of emotion versus thinking logically about the goal.
Well, it can't be a selfish idea.
Yeah.
It was selfish.
It wasn't about the team.
It wasn't about the team.
Yeah.
You have to be about that team. It's a team. It's enough money out here for everybody to win. You just have to be with the right people who want you to win, and not just looking at it in a selfish light and saying, this is my thing, this is my story, I'm going to push for what I want. You know, and hey, usually when you don't have a team that works with you, it's hard to become successful.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to compete.
Yeah, and everybody is good at something. Everybody that's part of your team, they specialize in something. And together, that's what makes y'all powerful, is the fact that you all bring something to the table and you play your part.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's very important.
Exactly. So I think that, you know, all in all, it was funny how the whole situation happened. But I think that the underlying root of the problem was really kind of Joe Budden and his ego.
Yeah. And it also kind of lined up about the same time where he kind of had those harassment accusations with the DJ.
Well, with the DJ, yeah, I didn't know if I really want to bring that up because I don't know how true it is.
Okay, we don't have to talk about it.
I mean, we could talk about it.
Well, I don't really know much about it. I know more about the accounting situation than I do about that.
Well, that's why I kind of left it at that. Because they don't even have. They have her saying something.
He
came back and apologized.
Yeah,
but he did apologize. See what I'm saying? So, but there's no tape.
There's a tape.
Well, there's tape.
They have a video of him.
But they do have the video.
They have a video of him hugging her and brushing up against her. That's what she complained about.
Yeah, but she complained about other stuff that he did too.
Yeah, well, like,
we don't
have to talk about it.
But I'm just saying that also. But see, no, we can talk about it a little bit.
Okay.
So basically, what that does, because when she talked about it, I said we're in a Me Too culture right now. Like, why is that something that you're actually doing? Like, you're putting your fucking career in jeopardy because you're out here thinking we're living in the back in the day. You can't do those things anymore, like brushing up on women and rubbing on them and touching their butt and stuff. This is not the era for that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just think that he gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
I think he gonna pay for it, man.
Yeah, we can.
So I didn't really want to talk about it because, like I said, it was her own. That's what she said. But then when he came out and apologized for it,
made him look a little guilty.
It made you look a little guilty. Yeah. And now that you're saying that there's a tape out there for it,
yeah, there is.
So hey, what you gonna say?
We can just leave that where it lies. Yep.
Oh, okay.
That's been our show.
Hey man, I don't know, man, but that's. I hope we get it together. But
yeah, me too.
If you like the show, hit that like button, man, and please subscribe to the channel. And you know who you're talking to. This is Kel.
And I'm Jake.
And you have been kicking it with Kel and Jake. Peace.